we're going to look at a yes, no, not given group of questions, 32 to 37. These questions are based on the reading we just did in the last lecture with multiple choice questions. These can be a little bit tricky because you really have to look through the reading passage to find the answers. You would answer yes if you can find the statement agrees with the reading passage. The answer is no if the statement contradicts. So our first step is to look at the questions and highlight the key words. So question 32, exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. So exposure forces the brain to think differently. Looking back on the reading, it says the best way to see things differently to other people is to bombard the brain with things it has never encountered before. So that's how we are to see things differently, or that's kind of the same as think differently. Just to look at a lot of different things. Novelty releases the perceptual process from the chains of past experience and forces the brain to make new judgments. So I would say exposure to different events does make the brain think differently, so I would say yes. I'll say yes. Number 33, iconoclasts are unusually receptive to new experiences. Let's highlight the keywords. Receptive to new experiences. Are they receptive to new experiences? Let me pick up the reading in that same paragraph. Successful iconoclasts have an extraordinary willingness to be exposed to what is fresh and different. Fresh is the same as new. It's a synonym for new. Different. So those are like new experiences. I'll continue. Observation of iconoclasts shows that they embrace novelty. Again, novelty is new, while most people avoid things that are different. So again, I would say the answer is yes. Unusually, in this case, would mean very, very receptive. Number 34. Most people are too shy to try different things. So too shy is our keywords. It talks about the brain's fear system. Fear is a major impediment to thinking like an iconoclast and stops the average person in his tracks. So the average person would be the same as most people. There are many types of fear, but the two that inhibit iconoclastic thinking and people generally find difficult to deal with are fear of uncertainty and fear of public ridicule. So it definitely says people have fears, but that doesn't mean they're too shy to try different things. Fear of uncertainty is fear of what you don't know. Fear of public ridicule, that might be shyness, but not necessarily. So I'm going to say my answer is not given. Not given will be my answer. Number 35. If you think in an iconoclastic way, you can easily overcome fear. So if you're iconoclastic, you can easily overcome fear. Is that? Do we find that in the reading? Again, we're looking at the same part of the passage, the same paragraph, and it talks about fear of uncertainty and fear of public ridicule. And it says, these may seem like trivial phobias, but fear of public speaking, which everyone must do from time to time, afflicts 1/3 of the population. This makes it too common to be considered a mental disorder. It is simply a common variant of human nature, one which iconoclasts do not let inhibit their reactions. Iconoclasts are those who don't allow these fears to inhibit their reactions. Regular people, the general population, they do allow fears, at least 1/3 of them allow fears to get in their way of that kind of thinking, that creative iconoclastic kind of thinking. It does not say that anybody can just overcome fear by starting to think iconoclastic. No, I mean, it's the way their brain functions, right? It's a minority of people, but some people have this iconoclastic brain, way of thinking, and they just don't have the fears. So I'm going to say no. That is a difficult question. Number 36. When concern about embarrassment matters less, other fears become irrelevant. So when you don't have embarrassment, and that matters less, other fears become irrelevant. They don't matter. So if embarrassment is not a problem for you, then the other fears won't be a problem for you. Well, this is another tricky question. I think it's difficult because that's probably true. That sounds true to me. If you were not afraid of being embarrassed, the other fears probably would be irrelevant. However, I can't find that in the reading. So instead of saying yes, I'm going to say, you got it, not given. Because it just doesn't tell me in the reading. Number 37, fear of public speaking is a psychological illness. I know the answer to this one is no. First of all, it's kind of common sense, right? So many people are afraid of public speaking, and so I don't think we would say everybody is, or most people are, they have a psychological illness or they're mentally ill because they fear public speaking. We have been reading this paragraph about fear, the brain's fear system. Look at the bottom. It says, fear of public speaking, which everyone must do from time to time, afflicts 1/3 of the population. This makes it too common to be considered a mental disorder. It is simply a common variant of human nature, one which iconoclasts do not let inhibit their reactions. So it says right here, it's too common to be considered a mental disorder. We're talking about fear of public speaking. It's too common to be considered a mental disorder. So that's why the answer is no. So that's how we answer questions on the yes, no, not given type.